Hi, my name's Jonny, and today we are taking a look at the brand new classic vibe Telecaster bass from Squier. I don't think I've ordered a bass faster than I did with this. Pretty much as soon as I saw that these were announced, I jumped on the pre-order because I was recently thinking about the Vintera Telecaster bass from Fender and thought it was a real shame that Squier haven't brought it back since the old vintage modified run. But here we are, 2025, and Squier have blessed us with a re-release of this bass, available in two finishes, that being this kind of butterscotch off-white or cream kind of colour, and then of course the classic looking walnut. Of course I absolutely had to go for the nut finish because that's what always happens when I finish. Insert your mum joke here. Now the Telecaster bass is kind of similar to a classic like 51 style P bass. One of the other differences of course is this fat, wide, open humbucker that it's got in the neck position instead of the precision bass single coil that you ended up having in the middle position. Brand new, this bass has cost me around £420 at the minute. Starting at the tippity top, we have got this classic Telecaster style headstock. Absolutely love these. I think this is so cool. A really nice kind of yellow vintage tinted neck, the gloss finish on the back, and a 41.3mm nut width. I think that in combination with this stickier neck on the back, which I don't normally prefer, I think in this combination it actually works really well because it is going for that kind of vintage feel and sound, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. But before we get to that point, you simply must like this video and subscribe. Moving up the C-shaped neck, we've got 20 frets here and a poplar body. Pretty standard stuff for the modern Squier range. Of course, super simple. Connected to this wide range humbucker, we've just got a master volume and a master tone, and then our standard kind of Fender style bridge. I'm really glad that they didn't go like vintage correct and have like the two saddles that wobble about, and no, that's no good for anyone. So I'm glad they decided to keep this feature. If I'm honest, when I got this out of the box, I was a little underwhelmed and thought like, oh great, they've done it again. You might remember previously I reviewed the classic vibe 70s jazz bass, and on this bass it was really obvious that it was like three bits of maple kind of glued together. You could really see the differences in these pieces of wood, and it's the same story here, I'm afraid. There's a definite clear straight line here where we've got a totally different piece of wood. Sometimes I like this kind of thing because it has the opportunity to give the instrument a little bit more character, make it more unique. But in this instance, it just looks like it's got a big skid mark, if I'm honest. It's looking more like the inside of my pants. Yeah, whenever the natural body wood is coming in, I think in future I will, if this is an option, we'll probably just end up going for the version, like the cream version of this that has a finish that, so you don't see any of this weird quality control stuff, because I love this walnut finish and it's a real shame that it's kind of tainted a little bit by this streak that we've got going on here. And yeah, let me know in a comment down below. You might love this, but personally I'd rather it wasn't there. But for now, let's have a listen to what this thing can do. Now, because this is a vintage style instrument, I thought it would only be fitting to listen to this with a clean DI, and as well as the rounds, hear what it sounds like with flats. So there we go. Let me know in a comment down below what you think about the Squier Classic Vibe Telecaster bass. Now, on their website, they say that these, pickups are great for that vintage warmth and blended with that modern punch. And at this point, I think they're just grabbing buzzwords and chucking them in ChatGPT because modern punch, really? Without doing some pretty extreme EQing, I don't think you can really get this to sound super modern. And by design, it is warm and woolly because it's a wide range humbucker right up in the neck position. It's gonna give you that sound. And if I'm honest, I don't know if I really like the sound that much. I feel like I'd rather just play my Hofner with flats or something like that. I definitely think that the flats work better with this sound. I think it complements the vintage vibe a lot. I'm finding it difficult to fall in love with the sound of this bass. I feel like I could almost get over that if this was an incredible playing bass. Out of the box, the setup was just fine, nothing to write home about really. And when these are pushing up into the £400 mark, kind of expected a little bit better, if I'm honest. Don't get me wrong, it's not terrible, and with some very simple adjustments you could get this down to your liking. I'm absolutely confident of that. But if you're not super confident with doing changes like that, then out of the box, yeah, expect to do a little bit of working out and setting up to get it how you want it to be, because it's fine out of the box, but it's nothing amazing. Fit and finish wise, the rest of the bass is actually really good. The quality is certainly there, I think. There's no blemishes or issues apart from this streak that we've got going on here. Actually, my biggest takeaway from this and my biggest recommendation on the back of this video would be to, if you're considering picking one of these up, definitely go and try it in person first, so you can select the one with the grain that you like and that it's the one for you. If I'm honest, I feel like a bit like the paint job of this bass, that it's just a little bit of a wet fart. I'm not that excited by this bass anymore now I've got it, whereas when I first ordered it and they first announced it, I was super excited. But I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Once again, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.